Keir Starmer today in Prime Minister's Questions has just called Rishi Sunak's plan about the small boats, gimmicks and empty promises. I think that's perfectly reasonable. Less than 1% of those who have arrived by boats have been processed. This is about the Home Office go slow. 21 out of 18,000 people who were judged to be fraudulent asylum seekers who've come into our country, 21 out of those have been deported. It's simply absurd, and yet at the same time, Suella Braverman is prepared to stand up and say that all of those people who come by small boats are illegal migrants. Well, they're not. It doesn't matter whether Britain suddenly decides to have its own national law define anybody who comes by small boats as illegal. Under international law, that isn't the case. And the number of Albanians who are coming by small boats has gone down significantly. The number of Afghans coming by small boats remains as high as it was. And most of the Afghans coming by small boats are certainly not illegal migrants. They're people fleeing persecution in Afghanistan by the Taliban, and people who were unable to get out of Afghanistan because our Foreign Secretary was too busy sunning himself in Crete. And the Home Secretary herself, the person who was smirking next to the Prime Minister this morning on the green benches, she admitted on the 22nd of November to Tim Lawton in a Commons committee meeting that actually travelling by boat over the English Channel was at the moment the only way to legally apply for asylum if you came from, for example, Africa. There aren't enough safe and legal routes to this country. What we need to do is to have an agreement with France to focus on the danger to life crossing the English Channel and to establish very clearly that our centres along the beaches of Calais will be British territory, and that the moment somebody crosses into those centres, they are our responsibility. We can then deport them if they are fraudulently claiming asylum or fraudulently claiming to be a migrant, and we can process them if their claims are considered to be credible. And in either case, either they are deported from those beaches or they are put on a ferry over to the UK to be processed for asylum in the UK and to be moved to safe accommodation. The current forerunner in the Scottish First Minister race, Humza Yousaf, used to walk around the place with a banner saying saying migrants welcome. Maybe we should be sending more of these potential asylum seekers to Scotland, where they will be embraced and welcomed. But the days of gimmicks, I think, are over. The days of claiming that we are dealing with the Albanian trafficking problem at sight simply by putting British representatives in the Tirana airport. This is virtue signalling. The place we need to be opening an embassy is in Kukes in the north of Albania, where the problem lies. We should be opening a consulate there so that people can have the correct information. It simply isn't true that ordinary individuals who are under pressure, who feel persecuted in their own country, have access to to up-to-date information and can know what is and what is not a safe way to travel from their country to our country. They rely on people who have that information, who are generally traffickers. And this has been ongoing for the last 30 years. The traffickers provide all the information, and somebody who is in the position of seeking asylum has no knowledge about whether these traffickers are giving the correct advice or not. They are the only people who are giving advice because we are too stupid to get the message out there. The Home Office and the Foreign Office have the resources to get the correct message out there. These are the safe and legal routes. But we don't have safe and legal routes because we can't be bothered to institute them. Instead, Suella Braverman and her cronies like Michelle Donnellan are saying that we will deal with the small boats problem before we institute safe and legal routes. That isn't the way forward. That is simply a holding position and a distraction. And if that's what this government wishes to do for the next 2 years, it is simply it is simply wasting time. And it is admitting that it is going to be replaced by a Labour government. It's conceding defeat. If that's the case, it should concede sooner.